Wright's Introduction to Latin, Chapter 1, the Noun. The noun is the name of an object. An object is anything that we can see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or think of. The use of a noun then being to name an object, we must now see how the form of a noun shows its use. We sometimes want to speak of one object by itself, sometimes of two or more objects of the same class taken together. This difference in the number of the objects spoken of is denoted by a change in the form of the noun. English and Latin nouns have two numbers, as they are called: the singular and the plural. A noun is said to be in the singular number when it shows by its form that it is naming one object, as rosa, rose. In the plural, when it shows by its form that it is naming more, Latin plures, than one object of the same class, rosae, roses. Objects are either persons of the male or female sex, or things which are neither male nor female. In English, the gender of nouns corresponds with the sex of the objects which they name. A noun is said to be of the masculine gender when it is the name of a male, of the feminine when it is the name of a female, of the neuter, which means neither, when it is the name of neither the one nor the other, that is, of a thing. But in Latin, while nouns which name males are said to be of the masculine, and nouns which name females of the feminine gender, nouns which name things are of all three genders. This difference in the gender of the names of things we find established in the language, though the reason for it does not always readily appear. We generally want to speak of an object in connection with other objects. This connection may be expressed by prepositions, and is, for the most part, so expressed in English. But in Latin, the circumstances in which an object is placed, whether spoken of by itself or in connection with other objects, are shown by a change in the form of its noun. Thus, in Latin, a noun has 6 forms, called cases: the nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, vocative, ablative. You will perhaps best understand the meaning of these forms if we follow a noun through its various changes. Let us take serwa, a female slave. The part serw we call the root. If an object is spoken of as acting, its noun is in the nominative case. Serwa cantat. The slave sings. Serwa portat puellam. The slave carries the girl. In each sentence, the object slave, being spoken of as acting, has its noun in the nominative case. The nominative we see is formed by adding the letter A to the root. Serwa. If an object is spoken of as possessing another object, its noun is in the genitive case. Filia servai cantat. The daughter of the slave, or we could say the slave's daughter, sings. Here the object slave possesses the daughter, and therefore its noun is in the genitive case. The genitive we see is formed by adding I, the letter A-E, I, to the root. If an object is spoken of as acted on directly by another object, its noun is in the accusative case. Puella portat servam. The girl carries the slave. Here, the object slave is spoken of as acted on directly by the object girl, and therefore its noun is in the accusative case, and this case is formed by adding the letters am, to the root. If an object is spoken of as acted on indirectly by another object, its noun is in the dative case. Puella dat rosam servai. The girl gives a rose to the slave. Here the object rose is acted on directly, and therefore its noun is in the accusative. The object slave is acted on indirectly. It is not moved, or changed by the acting object, but is influenced by the result of the action. Its noun, therefore, is put in the dative. This case is formed, like the genitive, by adding I, the letters AE, to the root. If an object is spoken to, its noun is in the vocative case. Sarwa kantas. Slave, sing, as a command to the slave. The vocative is in the same form as the nominative. If an object is spoken of as subordinate to or accompanying the action of another object, its noun is in the ablative case. Filia donat puellam serva. The daughter presents the girl with a slave. Here, the object slave is spoken of, not as acted on directly or indirectly by the daughter, but as accompanying or telling something further about the action of the daughter. Therefore, its noun is in the ablative case, which we see is formed by adding a long-sounding letter A, to the root. In the preceding examples, we have spoken of a single object out of a class, one slave, and therefore the noun serva has been in the singular number. In the following example, we shall speak of more than one object out of a class, of more slaves than one, and therefore the noun serva will be in the plural number. The circumstances of these objects, the slaves, whether spoken of alone or in connection with other objects, will be exactly the same as in the former examples, and therefore the noun will be in the same cases, but it will have different terminations to show that it is in the plural number. Nominative servai cantant. The slaves sing. Genitive filiae servarum cantant. The daughters of the slaves sing. Accusative puellae portant servas. The girls carry the slaves. Dative. Puellae dant rosas servis. The girls give roses to the slaves. Vocative. Servae cantatis. Slaves sing as a command. Ablative. Filiae donant puellas servis. The daughters present the girls with slaves. We thus see how, by changing the termination of the noun serva, we can show whether we mean to speak of the object slave as acting, or as acted upon, or as possessing, or as accompanying, or as addressed. And again, whether we wish to speak of one slave or of more than one slave, as in these circumstances. But we are not yet in a condition to show this when speaking of any objects whatever, because all nouns do not form their cases in the same way. As there are 5 ways of forming the cases of a noun, nouns are divided into 5 classes called declensions. And the sign or characteristic of each declension is the termination of the genitive case. A noun with its genitive case ending in I, that is AE, is of the first declension. If it ends in E, that is the letter I, it is of the second declension. If it ends in is, it is of the third. If it ends in us, it is of the fourth. And if it ends in A, the letters E, I, it is of the fifth. We will now give examples of the 5 declensions by declining, as it is called, a noun in each. To decline a noun is to make it pass through its cases. The first declension: singular, nominative, rossa, a rose. Genitive: rossai, of a rose. Dative: rossai, to a rose. Accusative: rossam, a rose. Vocative: rossa, o rose. Ablative: rossa, by a rose. Plural: rossai, roses. That's nominative. Genitive rosarum, of roses. Dative rossis, 2 roses. Accusative rosas, roses. Vocative rossai, o roses. Ablative rossis, by roses. Nouns of this declension are of the feminine gender, except for the names of males, as nauta, meaning sailor. The nominative ends in the letter A, except for a few proper nouns, which have their Greek form. All nouns ending in the letter A are of the first declension, except for a few Greek nouns, like poema, a poem. If a noun has its genitive ending in I, that is the letters AE, then decline it like the word rosa. That is, apply the same terminations through all the cases to its root. By the root of a noun, we mean that part of it which comes before the termination of the genitive case.